Hello there, and welcome to the Average Pundits podcast, where we talk about all things Premier League. Apart from this week, of course, because we tend to Premier League this week. International break, where there's not really any Premier League to talk about. England's doing pretty well in the Euros, but also it's flu season here in England. So apologies if I sound ill. And speaking of sounding ill, Joe, how are you?
Yeah, mate, I'm on the ropes. I'm on the ropes, can't lie. Yeah, it very much it's flu season.
On the ropes like Logan Paul.
Definitely. So we're all feeling at the moment, lads. But hopefully we can still bang out some interesting content.
Exactly. That's what we're about. Banging out the content. So there's no Premier League roundup this week.
No.
Hopefully we get back to it this weekend. So I reckon we should talk about England and their road to the Euros.
Obviously, there's quite a few international things we could talk about, but we'll stick to England this week just because that's the home nation and all that, supporting the boys.
It's coming home, yeah.
It is. It will one day come home. But two very convincing wins against two sides we were always realistically going to beat. First game, England-Montenegro, a 7-0 thriller.
Yes, Harry Kane getting back on the score sheet, getting back in form, which hopefully he can carry on to his Tottenham club. Oxlade-Chamberlain opened the scoring.
Good goal as well.
It was a very good goal. Oxlade-Chamberlain sort of returning to his old form before his injury. Marcus Rashford as well, continuing his good form. Marcus Rashford is also coming into his own as an England player, reassuring that he has a spot in that England front three.
And Abraham as well.
And Tammy Abraham scoring the last goal, getting on the collecting his England debts.
Tell you what, for a long time, the England attack has never looked so convincing. No. We've got so much talent in that attack.
There was a time where we had basically no real good strikers, was there? Yeah. Just before the incline of Harry Kane and Jamie Vardy. I
saw a picture the other day on Instagram. It came up as like a recommended post of it was like an England fan account, and it was Fabio Capello stood next to Jimmy Bullard, both on England duty. And I sent it to a friend of mine, and I was just thinking, like, how far have we come as a nation for football? Because that picture represented a very dark time for football.
I would say that was a time where Hull were getting relegation candidates, weren't they? Yeah. That was a horrible time to be in England. I used to hate being an England fan. I used to cheer on all the other teams. I used to, I was a Fernando Torres fanboy back in my own days. So, for me to. I just like Spain. The way that they played football. I enjoyed watching Spain more than England. I couldn't care what England did in the 2008.
I just felt like supporting England to me for a long time. It's been a full-time, hard, very demanding job. So I feel like it's good now. We're looking on the up, and you never know. I mean, at some point something's got to come our way, doesn't it? The second game, 4-0 win against Kosovo.
Yes, this was the game to escape the group of death in the Euro 2020. So we don't have, I think it was Portugal and Belgium in that group that we could have been with. So to beat Kosovo pushed us up. I mean, there was no real doubt of us beating Kosovo. We conceded that goal in the first game, but that was just a pure freak accident, wasn't it? It was Michael Keane giving it away. But
yeah, literally, it was a bit of a random one.
Yeah. But yeah, then we've got Harry Kane scoring. He was the only player to score in all of the games for his nation, I believe. In the Euros.
For all the qualifiers.
For all the qualifying games. Harry Winks also surprisingly getting on the score sheet, along with Marcus Rashford, who could also, like I just said, continuing his ongoing form, and then also Mason Mount, the young England prodigy.
See, a lot of people were in uproar, though, at the start of that game, that the fact Mason Mount was getting played above James Maddison. Obviously, Mason Mount getting a goal in the end, but a lot of people were really frustrated not to see Maddison starting in that game.
Absolutely.
I think I was a bit confused as well. I mean, why he wasn't starting. I mean, in such good form, it's a shame really not seeing him start more games for England.
It is. I mean, with his form for Leicester and just with the form of Leicester, it is a surprise not to see a lot of Leicester players in the team. Obviously, Chilwell only just made his start for the beginning of, I think it was 2017 or 2018, something like that.
Yeah, I think so, mate.
It wasn't a long time ago that Chilwell only just got into the England team, along with Maddison. So it's a surprise that not all a lot of the Leicester players are in that starting 11.
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, two wins that I think we're always going to do.
Yeah.
Not too much to talk about really with the international break. It's a topic we've already discussed international break and what it means for football and how it's maybe not the most liked thing amongst football fans.
I mean, it's needed for football teams to gel and stuff like that, but when you've got a Premier League that's as interesting as this, you've got Leicester City on the uprise, you've got Liverpool that's top of the league, Premier League favourites. It's exciting for me anyways. Manchester City, Pep Guardiola's losing his mind, being fourth at the minute. So when you've got the momentum of the Premier League like this, it sort of just stops. For England to beat some milkmen 3-0, you've got obviously it's not that great. So for the Premier League to continue this week, it's going to be more exciting, more fast paced. There's a lot more stake in these games rather than just escaping a group of death.
Yeah.
Against Kosovo, which is basically a semi-country at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
So moving on, I think there isn't really a lot to talk about. It's the Premier League this week, so we'll have some sort of predictions for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just after the international break, we'll be back onto full topics.
Absolutely.
We do have an extremely interesting topic this week to discuss.
We do, and with it's we like to talk about money in England with Brexit. So
yeah, we're going to keep it up and make sure we kind of have a good discussion. But first things first, we have the hype train race.
Yes. We haven't had any submissions. However, I'm going to bring it to myself. I am going to have. We can both have a little bit of a.
I've got a couple, mate. I've got a couple of submissions I had private messaged. So you've had
okay.
One that I did have, mate, a very interesting player, Reece James from Chelsea.
And we share the same name, and it's the best way to spell Reece. So talk to me.
The Alpha way.
Alpha.
I'm extremely interested by Reece James. I will say both the submissions we had today are both from Chelsea, so I am I'm extremely interested to talk about both of these players.
Okay.
But Reece James, especially, bursting onto the scene at Chelsea, has probably the best manager to give him those opportunities to Frank Lampard. Obviously, he is very much encouraging more of a younger Chelsea to play at the moment. He's solidified at the moment that right back spot in that Chelsea team. I'm a big fan.
I really enjoy watching Reece James play. It's sort of refreshing to see that sort of right back come into a Chelsea team that's been known for their foreign right backs. Cesar Azpilicueta, Branislav Ivanovic. To have this young English player come in and be the brick wall of the Chelsea defence, to be one of the most reliable players in that defence, is quite refreshing to see, especially in that Chelsea team that's renowned for spending big money on players. And to see him play his football, he's got a very good pass on him. He's very good tracking back in defence, and he's also very young as well. So it's a very nice sight to see for Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean in the Premier League at the moment, registering 4 appearances in the Premier League, but he's also got appearances under his belt in the Cup and in the Champions League as well.
Exactly.
In the Champions League and the EFL Cup, also registering 2 goals, a goal in either tournament, and I feel like I think he's 19.
Yeah, he is.
It's crazy. I mean, like he's got a massive kind of like climb ahead of him, but right now, England fullbacks are kind of abundant right now, kind of flush, aren't we?
Yes, I mean, I don't see anyone displacing Trent Alexander-Arnold for that spot,
unless he transitions into a central midfield position.
He does transfer.
I think that's going to happen. I think sooner than we all think as well.
In the England team, yeah, probably. We've got Kyle Walker. Obviously, we've got this Reece James.
Yeah. And Wan-Bissaka as well.
Wan-Bissaka, yeah. I keep forgetting about Wan-Bissaka.
I think... here's what I think is going to happen. I think Kyle Walker is going to start playing a lot more of his football at centre-back.
I was thinking that as well.
I think Trent's going to play a lot more of his football in the midfield. And I feel that right-back position, if he can take it, is Wan-Bissaka's for the taking, with Reece James following up behind him. You also have Max Aarons as well.
From Norwich, yes.
From Norwich, well, he's looking extremely promising. But even then, you have perfectly competent right-backs like Nathaniel Klein still knocking around.
Yeah.
Which, for a lot of nations, he would be their first right-back.
He would, for obviously the lower nations.
Kieran Trippier as well.
Oh, see, without Trippier being in the Premier League anymore and he's Atletico Madrid, English fans don't really remember that he's a thing.
Yeah.
Even though he scored that free kick at the World Cup. So to forget Kieran Trippier is kind of like, you know,
kind
heresy.
of crime, isn't it?
It's heresy.
And then on the other side, you've got plenty of options as well, with following Chilwell pretty much solidifying that number one spot.
Yeah.
Players like Shaw and stuff, kind of like sliding in afterwards.
Danny Rose.
Yeah, you got Danny Rose as well.
Still knocking about. So yeah, you've got. I mean, Fabian Delph played a bit of left back for England. I'm pretty sure in the past as well.
Yeah,
so
I think he did.
We got a competent. For once, I can say we have a very competent England team. I mean, yes, both of us have lived through the dream period of having Lampard, Gerrard, Rooney, Beckham. You know, 2006. That whole period of having these world class players, Rio Ferdinand, Gary Neville. None of them could play together. These lads are very, you know, they're all friends. They're not really competition driven. They're all wanting to win this World Cup or Euro. So I think you know, with English players, it's great.
Yeah.
Reece James, where shall we stick him in the carriages? We've got to sort him into a carriage.
It's filling up quite fast, isn't it? The prospect.
It is, but
bracket.
There is a few more
seats
spaces
available.
Yeah, even if we have to domino them, or you know, even if we have to pile them on top of each other.
I reckon he can squeeze in there. Do you reckon?
He's a prospect. He's a prospect.
I'll tell you what, though, the second submission, I'm going to throw a few spans into the works. We're sticking at Chelsea.
Okay.
We're sticking with England.
Okay.
Fikayo Tomori.
Oh.
The Chelsea centre back. Again, a huge fan.
Absolutely, he's like
huge fan.
Kurt Zuma on steroids.
He's like a competent Kurt Zuma.
Yeah.
I'll say right now, I don't rate Zuma.
No,
I don't rate him.
He's not. He's poor.
Maybe that's one for the future on the hype train.
I mean,
that we can give him some.
We
justice.
need some more poor players. Please give your selections, because poor Sed Kolasinac, he's on his own in a carriage.
I mean, you know what? Whilst we're here, well, if we can pop all three in, Fikayo Tomori is not my, you know, like, he's the main one I'm talking about. But if we can briefly go into Kurt Zuma, I'm not a fan at all. I feel like in his younger days he was looking like he had the ability to become a good player.
He's just not. He hasn't elevated himself in any way.
No,
so
he's definitely not Chelsea quality.
No, I think that we might find a friend for Sed Kolasinac in this. So
I'll happily slot him in there now, mate.
Yes, we've said. Don't worry, mate. You've got yourself
a mate.
You've got yourself a mate in the poor passage carriageway. So,
but going into Fikayo Tomori, I'm gonna say right now, and I'll explain my reasoning why I want to put him in star player.
Okay.
I want to put him in star player, mate, and it could be up for discussion. But I feel like since he's come in there at 21, coming out of absolutely nowhere, solidifying into that Chelsea team, because their defensive options have been a bit of an issue. I mean, who have they got there at the moment? They've David Luiz left in the summer. You've got Christensen knocking around, Rudiger.
Cesar Azpilicueta does play centre back.
He does
on
indeed.
Occasion. Reece James sort of goes to the wing, and then you got Azpilicueta coming in the middle.
See, a few centre backs in there with injury problems. So
that's true, actually. Yeah, I think Azpilicueta might be out with it. I'm not sure.
I think at the moment he is. I reckon.
With Tomori, he's a very good young English player. He's got a lot of promise to come into this England team and make himself a star. He's got a lot of potential to come to this Chelsea team under, as you said before, with Reece James, under Frank Lampard, who is a very promising man. He just won the managerial award.
Yeah.
Manager of the month?
I believe so, mate.
So to have a manager like that, it's very beneficial to Tomori. I might have to disagree with the star player here, though. Based on the fact that I don't think we've seen enough of him. I think give it until the end of the season. We could. I think I might bring a whole episode based on the hype train.
Yeah.
We might have a whole reshuffle of the carriages and recap the season. And see where everyone, because Tomori could end up in world class by the end of the season. We don't know.
We don't know.
It could be a Virgil van Dijk situation where we have Tomori in this world class category.
You know what? I might be open to discussion. So I might be open to compromise.
We're going to compromise. I think Reece James and Tomori can hold hands and they can go into the prospect.
you know, for argument's sake, mate, today I'm going to agree with you. Maybe tomorrow will get a bit of justice in the future, but you know what? I think there's room in that prospect carriage.
There is a bit of room. It's starting. We might have to add another carriage that's just for prospects.
Yeah, but Zuma, nah, mate.
Zuma, you're poor, mate.
Nah, mate.
I'm sorry.
You're gone.
You're barred.
You're barred.
You're raw. Shout out to Gordon Ramsay there. So, anyways, moving on to onto the main topic.
Yeah, onto the main topic of the week.
There's a climate in English football that we like to spend a lot of money. Nowadays we do. It wasn't too long ago that the first player was that bought for £1 million. So let's talk about transfer inflation.
It's a very, very controversial topic because I know a lot of football fans have grown up in the era of lower transfer fees, still good football,
spending money.
Yeah. But I mean, we've grown up in the era of seeing, you know, the 1 millions, the 5 millions being dashed around, going up to more recently over 200 million, over 150 million being spent. We've seen the transfer record broken several times in our lifetime, which is something which I feel like I wouldn't have been able to predict before. No. I mean, you started off with Cristiano Ronaldo breaking that transfer record, Gareth Bale. And then, I mean, since then, players like Ousmane Dembele, Mbappe, Neymar, it's absolutely bizarre.
Back in 2011, you'd think, you know, you'd see the fee for Ronaldo going to Real Madrid at 80 million, and that fee had never been even thought of. It'd never been dreamt of at that point. Like, we'd had players like Ronaldo, like the fees for like these players would be like a maximum 40 million, and 40 million was a lot of money back in that, you know, 2010 2011 time, especially for a Liverpool fan, as we had, you know, we were bringing in Stuart Downing and Paul Konchesky for like 5 million,
the elite,
the best Liverpool team. So as we come into the new decade, you know, kids are being born like that are 5 years old that are being like, oh yeah, this £200 million fee for Kylian Mbappe is reasonable.
Yeah.
But we were living in an age where Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale being 80 million was the maximum we thought it was going to be. But I guess there's a lot of reasons for this that we might have to go into. It
was very representative of the time. I feel like big transfer fees should equate to the talent of the player. Obviously, you look at some fees and you think, wow, they've overpaid for him there.
Yeah.
Or wow, like that's far too much to be paying him a week. But I feel like the players that have gone for this kind of money are some of the best players in the world.
Yeah. I think
it's like, but the only thing is it justified? Is it justified? Is there a way that we can justify it for that kind of value?
I'm not sure, but obviously you've got the elite players. They are the elite. They're in a category to themselves. I'm pretty sure you've said on a numerous occasions that with youth players that they shouldn't be compared to Kylian Mbappe based on the fact that he is the exception.
Yeah.
He is the one. He is the future. He is the Messi and Ronaldo of the next generation. It all into one player. He's fantastic.
He is phenomenal, isn't he?
A lot of people compare him to Ronaldo. I think he's better.
Interesting.
Basically, right, if people are calling Cristiano Ronaldo a Man United legend, so far Kylian Mbappe is a PSG legend already, based on what Man United fans think, because he has contributed more goals. I saw a controversial thing that might be a it might be a bit controversial. That all Cristiano Ronaldo could do was dribble for Man United on that wing. Yes, he could shoot, but he didn't really pass much. All he could do was dribble and do skill moves. And Kylian Mbappe has already shown at 21 years of age that he has the ability to. He has what I like to call championship DNA.
He's more of an unselfish player than Ronaldo is. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I feel like Cristiano Ronaldo, when he was at United, although we had arguably, I reckon, when we won the Champions League, I reckon we had arguably the best team in the world at that time. There was some absolutely phenomenal players in that team. And yet I feel like he was aware he was the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot when you had prime Rooney, prime Tevez, and
Vidic.
you had Vidic, Ferdinand,
Owen Van der Sar.
Yeah.
You had did you have Gary Neville at that point as well? Still,
Scholes.
I think it was Scholes.
A lot of elite players, but Cristiano Ronaldo, 100% of the time, knew he was the best.
Yeah,
but but I reckon he at that time he was the most valuable player in the world. Obviously, you had Messi as well, who was still like one of the best players in the world. But I feel like Messi is never going to leave Barcelona.
Absolutely not. I don't see a day where Messi is going to even think about leaving Barcelona.
Which I feel like in a discussion in its own, although it's outside the Premier League, you never know. One day we might have a podcast on the best player debate, maybe.
Exactly, maybe, yeah, that might be another international break type situation where we talk about this, and you know where the transfer market is. It's so, especially with the Premier League, like, you know, all you have to do is look the middle of the decade, 2014, 2015, the entire season, all like the average, like for the arrivals into the Premier League, throughout the entire season, what was spent? £1.1 billion.
1.1 billion.
What was spent this season alone in the summer was 1.3, almost 1.4 billion pounds, almost 70 million per team on average.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's absolutely absurd how much money we are now spending in this climate.
The money in world football, especially in the Premier League, I mean, everyone knows there's a lot, but it's not. When you hear stats like that, then it's like, wow, okay, this industry is crazy, isn't it?
However, I do have a potential reason for it, that might be able to explain why we have the potential rise in transfer fees, and that is the rise in TV deals, the TV deal prices, and the money that teams get from television. Obviously, you get so much money from winning, like going up to the Premier League from the Championship as well.
You do, that alone, you're getting huge amounts.
So from that alone, you from the Championship can spend 100 million easily, like so easily. It's crazy.
And then again as well, to be a football fan as well in this climate, to get to games, especially in the Premier League, you're looking at around like £30 up per ticket a lot of the time. But then there's travel expenses as well. There's a lot of money which goes into committing yourself to being a football fan. But for those fans who can't get to those games, you obviously have the payments of Sky, of BT, Amazon Prime as well have some exclusive sports stuff.
You also have, like, football's now running a business, so we have obviously you've got the transfer market and transfer fees for all the players. You've got the TV deals. You've got investment from the owners of the club. Also, it's also run like a business. You've got ticket prices too, as you say, and also merchandising. How much money is being put into the merchandising and profits being made should be put back into the club, essentially.
I think Manchester United and Liverpool are probably. I mean, I reckon if their exclusive merch kind of figures were revealed, I think it would be earth-shattering.
Absolutely, Manchester United. I don't think I go a week without seeing some person in a Manchester United shirt. You look at people across the world, different continents, different countries. Everyone has Manchester United or a Liverpool shirt. You see, especially now with Liverpool winning the Champions League, Manchester United's always been a global phenomenon for merchandising because it's Manchester. It's a big city. And now it was in the in-betweeners, when they went on holiday, the little kid, Manchester, but he knew who it was. So, especially with it's a weird,
such a random thing to add in.
I mean, like, but it's true. It's a global phenomenon. I mean, it obviously helped with Cristiano Ronaldo, being the big hype around football back then.
You go to big clubs like Liverpool, United, Real, Barcelona, Bayern, Juventus, and you get a lot of deals which come with it. Looking back at the Premier League, though, currently within the realms of the Premier League itself, the most expensive fee of someone leaving the Premier League is still Felipe Coutinho to Barcelona, when Liverpool got roughly 130 million for him. I mean, I think that was an absolutely brilliant sell from Liverpool, because you haven't missed him.
Look at him now.
You haven't missed him.
And look at us now.
And his career since then has been bizarre.
Yeah, he has gone to Barcelona. He was a hype for one season, fell out of favour with the manager.
Yeah.
And is now on loan at Bayern Munich.
But I mean, at the time, I looked at that and I thought, Felipe Coutinho, especially in that final season at Liverpool, that half season he had, amazing player.
Yeah. He played phenomenally.
But he's not worth 130 million.
No, now he's not.
I still maintain to this day, I thought that was a massive overpayment. And then Premier League, in terms of actual personal acquisitions from other leagues to the Premier League itself, the top three are all at Manchester United.
Oh, why am I not surprised?
So Paul Pogba being first,
yeah,
Harry Maguire being second, and then Romelu Lukaku.
I want to propose this. Do you regret buying Paul Pogba?
No, not at all.
For that fee?
Not at all.
For that fee?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, I don't
for
regret
that
it at
fee?
all. For that fee, I think it was excellent.
Do you think it was worth it?
And there was, I feel like we bought the world's most marketable centre mid, the world's most profitable centre mid. If you look at it from which, and I hate saying this because massively critical of football clubs being run their businesses, but if you look at a business standpoint, how much money do you think Paul Pogba shirts bought into Manchester United?
I mean, yeah, looking from a management and business standpoint, yes,
genius.
It was a good decision. From your owners. And
mate, don't get me wrong. It's embarrassing the fact that we let a player go for nothing and we bought him back for around just under 100 million. That's painful.
To bring in a player worth 100 million to come in, sell t-shirts, have new haircuts, and dab with Jesse Lingard, aka the 23-year-old the 28-year-old in a 23-year-old's body. It's sort of. I don't think it's the right way to go about it, like to pay for a player that's not going to really perform.
No.
I mean, everyone thought he was world class. Obviously, Juventus, he'd score outrageous goals.
Paul Pogba is world class, mate. To this day, he still is.
Oh, get in the bin.
Mate, you cannot deny the man of his football ability. If he had the players like Real Madrid have around them, if he had the players that Liverpool currently have around them of that calibre, I know we're paying the same wages, but I mean, I'm not delusional, mate. United's players aren't up to crack, are they? Now,
not right now. I mean,
if he had those players around him, he'd be the best midfielder in the world.
Pogba right now, I'm not going to deny his football ability. I'm just going to say he's lazy. I'm going to say he's like he doesn't work. He doesn't put in the work.
He has a bad attitude, mate. Sometimes
he has a bad attitude, and when he has a bad attitude, he's lazy around a football pitch. He doesn't run. He puts passes in. All he wants to do is shoot the ball. That's all he wants to do.
When he gets frustrated, he does shoot from silly places.
Exactly.
But I still think the transfer fee for him, very representative of the time. It was always going to be a big fee. I don't regret it as a football fan. I think Paul Pogba's going to end up leaving United soon, and I think we'll probably recoup most of the money back for him. It's good. I mean, I think either Juventus or Real Madrid, because
Real Madrid
we're not going to let him go for free.
Yeah, Real Madrid would probably snoop round, probably saying, "Hey, look, we'll give you £90 million for this." It'll probably be about 29 by the time he leaves, because he's what 25, 20. He's like got to be mid-20s now, surely.
26, I think.
Yeah,
so I think he's 26.
Someone will snoop round within the next couple of years, pay 90 million for him. This is when he's in his peak years. Hopefully, he's grown up a bit and he starts becoming a bit less lazy. Obviously, Luka Modric and that are out the door for Real Madrid, or Barcelona. Maybe he fits into that Barcelona team, and he sort of starts replacing Vidal and Rakitic. But Paul Pogba going out, I think. I don't know. I don't really agree with that fee. But obviously, hindsight's a great thing. Obviously, seeing what you let go. Obviously, United talent scouts wouldn't have known what he was back then.
I'd maybe argue on the contrary. I feel like they did. I feel like he was touted as this player who had the potential, but Ferguson wasn't ready to give him the opportunity. Yeah. And fair enough. What do? He said, "Okay, no worries. I'll go and play my trade somewhere else." And we happily let him go. No animosity. He still had love for the club, evidently.
Yeah.
And off he goes. I feel bringing him back was a good decision. I mean, it was a lot of money, but I don't regret the way it was done. I don't regret it, because I still think what he brought us a glimmer of hope in a very dark kind of team that kind of light.
Yeah.
But I'm still a Pogba fan. I will remain to be a Pogba fan. Sometimes the social media antics are questionable. That's a whole nother discussion in general, though.
Just the Paul Pogba debate, really. Paul Merson's not a big fan of him either.
No, he's not. Nor is Graham Souness.
No, I don't think anyone is a good, on the Sky Sports team. I don't even think Jose Mourinho is a big fan of Paul Pogba.
No,
to be honest,
no, they weren't at all.
Was it Mourinho that signed him? Or
I
think Mourinho was probably pressured into buying him from the higher ups in Manchester United. If I'm honest,
I think Mourinho closed it.
You think?
I think Mourinho closed the deal, but you have a clash of egos sometimes at clubs, and problems come about.
Pogba and Mourinho, they're two egos. Pogba wants to be the best. Mourinho wants to be the talk about Manchester United.
Yeah.
It's not easy to have those sorts of players. But I don't know. You sort of it's
tough.
It is tough when you've got players like that of that caliber. But when you're paying that fee for that for that type of player, you sort of have to just put up and shut up, kind of thing. But when you've got a manager that's as eccentric as Mourinho, you sort of don't,
So what do you think about the fee for Virgil van Dijk?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm not denying the player.
I was just say based on performances though. I think the fee for Van Dijk and Pogba are two different fees. One you pay for marketing, the other. We bought the Champions League based on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to say that we bought a trophy, but we bought the Champions League based on Virgil van Dijk's performances.
You almost bought it with one player, really, didn't you?
And the Premier League. Basically, last season we slipped up slightly.
Yeah.
And that was a fault. I mean, to be fair, that was beginning of
You certainly already had the attacking talent.
Oh, 100%.
But I mean, that was definitely the last piece of the puzzle, and smashed out the park, didn't you?
Virgil van Dijk being that last piece of the puzzle is what we needed. So to have him in the club. Basically, it assured us trophies. It assured us what we've been wanting since the 80s, really, since 2005, since that Champions League final, since that FA Cup win with Steven Gerrard. All these players that we've missed. I saw this thing on Twitter. It was like I want you to send me pics of when what you started out looking like at the beginning of the decade, and it was a picture of Paul Konchesky and Stuart Downing next to Roy Hodgson. And it was a picture at the end of the decade with Jordan Henderson lifting the Champions League trophy. That is what financial investment has done to our club. That's what financial investment has done to our club. And we all say that we hate overspending, but if you've got the money, if you've got the TV deals, if you've got the players, do it.
I mean, I think if Liverpool win the Premier League this season, have a great run at the Champions League, maybe even win that again. Next season, you've also got the kit deal with Nike.
Yeah, exactly. We've just signed a huge kit deal with Nike.
Right now, everything's looking good to be.
It's coming up Liverpool. I mean, who's not to say that we're about to spend 100 million on a team with Werner? Who's not about to say that we're about to spend on Mbappe? We've been heavily linked with him right now because of this Nike deal, which is absurd to say, but it's what happens when you sign a deal with Nike.
Yeah.
You have those contracted players with Nike to sign those players.
That's another thing. I'll say big business owners, big sports kit deals. They have massive say in transfers, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you've got Nike, who they're sort of the contracted dealers. They come up, and they're sort of the last sort of defense before you come on to another contract. So they're like agents in a way. You sign with Nike, and they sort of they don't pressurize you, but they sort of give you hints. This will be a great move for your career. I mean, to go from for Mbappe to go from PSG, which isn't really a very marketable club if you think. I mean, it is in France, but worldwide.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the kits and stuff, the PSG kits, I feel like are always, it's a beautiful kit most of the time.
Oh, absolutely, especially the Jordan one. The deal that they signed with Nike Jordan and stuff like that. That was phenomenal.
It was a strange
It was
strange collaboration, but I can't deny the kits. The kits look incredible.
I mean, a fan of Jordans myself. I love the kit, so
Yeah.
I was tempted to buy it, but I don't have the money with my student loan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, yeah, if you've got the money as a club,
Yeah.
I'd say spend it. I mean, sometimes clubs are pressured into spending.
Yeah.
Arsenal were one of those teams that didn't like to spend, and now Unai Emery's come in, and he's spent huge money on Pepe.
Yeah, he has. You know, I feel like all big clubs are, like, end up falling into to the pattern. I mean, there are clubs which are famous for spending little. I mean, I think Liverpool for a long time kind of got around with not spending much money.
Yeah.
And then they wondered why they were in the place they were. They started spending the 30s to 40 millions on players and then building them up. I mean, I don't know how much Coutinho was signed for originally.
Oh,
Didn't you pick him straight out of Brazil?
We picked him from Inter Milan. We picked him from Inter Milan.
Of course,
for
no, it was Milan.
8 million. It was 8 million. I remember the transfer fee. It was £8 million.
So roughly like £122 million profit.
Yeah, we made a lot of profit on Felipe Coutinho.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
It was incredible. What we actually made from that.
But then you've got. I mean, I also don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with being a so-called selling club, as long as you can replace the players.
Exactly.
Can you imagine if you sold your combined front three, you'd probably have over 500 million.
Yeah, we'd have to sign someone. We'd have to sign someone that's better.
Yeah, but I mean, you're a front three. Imagine your front three goes out the door, and then in comes Mbappe, Timo Werner, and
Neymar.
Yeah, why not? Silly season.
Yeah,
why not Neymar?
Exactly.
But then, I mean, like, there's nothing stopping it, is there? I mean,
no, there isn't.
I think the next big fee that we're going to see. I mean, there's going to be big fees every window, but the next kind of eye-catching, amazing transfer is probably going to be Sadio Mane. I don't know why. I just got that feeling, man.
Yeah, I think with today's climate, you can see Sadio Mane going for about 100 million. I mean,
more than that.
You think 120?
Yeah.
120?
No, I reckon like 150.
You think?
Yeah, I reckon so.
I mean, he has been probably, I'm not sure, maybe the best player in the Premier League this season.
I'd say so.
One of the best players in the Premier League this season. He is a phenomenal player. You can definitely. I mean, we signed him for 40.
I think it was less than that.
Was it?
I think it was around 30, maybe.
I think it was around that. But to sign him back then in 2016 for 30, and now he's worth to do his meteoric rise back then, he would have been worth maybe 80 million again.
Yeah.
Back to that magic number of where Cristiano Ronaldo was at. And that's Cristiano Ronaldo, not Sadio Mane, which is so absurd to think of.
Yeah.
But like, to have that world class player at that point back in 2011, the meteoric rise of the transfer fee, I don't know, it's so crazy. Like, it sort of went under everyone's nose that oh, here's Neymar for 200 million at PSG. Here's Ronaldo going back to Juventus. Going to Juventus for 100 million.
But both Salah and Mane bought in for just under 40 million apiece.
And they could be sold for 150 million apiece.
It's I mean, obviously we've seen it a lot of times before. People get it wrong as well. I mean, not all transfers come good.
We paid 25 million for Dejan Lovren. We paid 20 million for Adam Lallana.
Yeah.
All fees that could have been paid less for, like 8 million.
67 million for Di Maria to United. Something which still keeps me up at night now.
I mean, but you were under Louis van Gaal at the time, weren't you?
Well, yeah, we were. I mean, but the thing is that, I mean, Di Maria didn't even have a failure of a season. He had an okay season. Probably could have been better.
Yeah.
Scored some great goals. Had some very low moments, but he just couldn't hack the Premier League and left us high and dry.
I think it was sort of a thing of not being able. Not being able to keep up with the tempo.
Yeah.
He come from the Liga BBVA. He came from Real Madrid, and him coming from there, not as fast paced as the league. Where there's not as many good teams as the Premier League, coming from Real Madrid it's sort of hard to come into especially a marketed team like Manchester United.
Yeah.
For that fee, I think he kind of just cracked under the pressure.
I felt like it was along those kind of lines. He never wanted to leave.
No.
Madrid either. A good kind of thing to round it off, I reckon, Reese. What do you think? If I name 3 players from the past, I want to know what you think their fees would be in today's market.
Worth in today's. Okay, yeah, that's a
I've
fun,
got
fun little game.
I've got 3 in my head. First one I'd say is probably Zinedine Zidane.
Okay.
So like prime Zidane.
Prime Zidane.
How much would you go for in this market currently?
Prime Zidane, 180 million.
180, yeah. It's definitely, I reckon, over that 120 or 30 mark.
180 million. Prime Zidane. If you're looking at Prime Zidane,
Yeah.
100%. He'd be the best centre midfielder in the world.
Okay.
The control that he had, the vision, passing ability, finishing, headbutting ability, second to none.
Let's say we go back to a time where, because I mean, Liverpool fans can deny it, but Steven Gerrard was potentially close to leaving at one point.
Yeah.
Chelsea, wasn't it?
Chelsea, if we didn't win that Champions League,
Yeah.
Steven Gerrard would have left.
Do you think he would have gone for maybe a bit of a record fee? How much you reckon prime Gerrard would have gone for in this market?
Prime Steven Gerrard in this market, you're looking. So you're saying Paul Pogba's 100 million? 130?
Nah, surely not. I was going to say like 80, 90.
More than Pogba.
More than Pogs.
More, maybe like 10 mil more than Pogba. Just more than Pogba. That's all I want. Because Prime Steven Gerrard is better than Prime Pogba.
Can rile up the Liverpool fans here by claiming Pogba is the best. Definitely would never dream of doing it.
No.
Okay, and then
we'll get you with shotguns.
Last one I had in my mind personally, David Beckham.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
A good one. I feel like even today, David Beckham maybe doesn't get the credit as, you know, a footballer as much as he deserved.
I think today's climate, you look at David Beckham and go, yeah, that's an £80 million player.
Yeah, 80, 90, I reckon.
80, 90, yeah.
That's what I had in my head.
Yeah. I might throw a few at you.
Go on.
I'm going to go Johan Cruyff.
Prime Johan Cruyff.
In today's market. That's
rough.
It is a huge fee. It would be a huge fee.
I reckon, like, I get like Griezmann money vibes, like 100 million, 105.
Yeah.
Like as a prime centre forward, going to a top club, I reckon you're looking at around that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'll throw one more at you. Maldini. Prime Maldini.
Prime Maldini, arguably. You could argue one of the best centre backs, if not the best of all time.
Oh, of course. Maldini, I would think he was probably along with Beckenbauer, probably. But I didn't want to go too classic.
If Van Dijk's looking at around 75, I reckon you've got to put like 75, 80 on him again.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think centre backs get enough.
No, they don't.
Where the transfer market is concerned. So, I'd say probably. I'd say just above Virgil van Dijk, like maybe 90.
Yeah.
For Maldini.
I'd argue second best of all time behind Harry Maggs. Behind Big Maguire.
Oh, I was like, who is Maggs?
Big Harry Maggs, mate.
It only took me a while to figure out that you meant Slabhead.
Big slab.
I remember that in the World Cup. It's like, oh yeah, my friends call me Slabhead.
It's great times. It was Vardy who was calling it. But you know, yeah, I feel like inflation's something that we're, again, as football fans, going to have to adapt to and adjust because it's not going anywhere.
No, it's not. It's going to keep the rise. And Newcastle fans, stay tuned. You're going to get taken over soon. Don't worry. Mike Ashley will not be there much longer.
He will not be. Well, hopefully for them, he won't be anyway.
Yeah, so I think we end on some predictions for this week.
Yeah.
First game, West Ham Spurs.
West Ham Spurs. 2-1 Spurs.
2-1.
2-1 Spurs. I reckon Harry Kane's form over the international break will put him over the edge.
I'm going to say there's going to be 2 goals to Spurs, but 0 to West Ham. No. I think the stoppage of the form for West Ham is going to be it's not going to carry over.
Yeah.
Bournemouth and Wolves. Away from home for Wolves, that is. So.
See that can influence the decision, couldn't it? Because Wolves are weird at away.
Bournemouth are currently 9th in the table. This is like a battle for whoever goes above each other here.
Yeah.
Both Manchester United, Wolves, and Bournemouth are on 16 points at the minute. So whoever this could be goes into 7th place, potentially above Arsenal and Sheffield United into that 5th spot.
I reckon this is either going to be a really competitive game or awful.
Yeah.
You know what? 1-1. 1-1.
1-1. Okay.
I reckon Wolves will struggle to get around them, but I also don't. I wouldn't down and out them. I reckon I'll put a draw on it.
I'm not sure. Wolves are a good team. They are a good team.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know. They're in a weird spot. I do think that Wolves are going to win this.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to concede. I think that they're going to win. It's hard to make a prediction. 2-0 to Wolves, I think. Because Jimenez is in very good form.
Yeah.
That Jota could also come into good form. Catrone. Johnny's also scoring as well.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to say 2-1 to Wolves.
Interesting.
The next game that we have is Arsenal versus Southampton. This is a very interesting game to see what Arsenal can pull out the bag, as much as form with Unai Emery as well. Who knows, Granit Xhaka might be playing as well. So I do think that Arsenal are going to win here. I do think it might be a hefty margin as well. I'm going to say 4-1 to Arsenal.
I think Arsenal are going to win. But I reckon I don't think it's going to be as high scoring. I reckon I'm going to put 1-0 Arsenal on it.
1-0.
I reckon right now Arsenal are just so weird. Like I can't place them anywhere.
Yeah.
So I reckon 1-0.
We have at Brighton, Leicester City versus Brighton.
That'll be a good game.
I think it's going to be an absolute slugfest. Leicester, I reckon, have got this in the bag though. I could see Brighton getting a goal.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 2-1 to Leicester City.
I had 3-1 in my mind for that one, mate.
3-1 to Leicester City, yeah.
3-1, I reckon. Reckon the usual suspects are going to be banging.
Jamie Vardy, James Maddison.
Yeah.
Maybe Mark Albrighton, you never know.
Big Albrighton.
Next one is a game that I'm not really looking forward to. Crystal Palace versus Liverpool.
Do you reckon that's going to be a tough one?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, 100%.
It's got to be an upset for Liverpool at some point. There's got to be.
Crystal Palace are our bogey team. I mean, in the days of Yannick Bolasie and Dwight Gale,
yeah,
they have been our bogey team.
Yeah,
I don't see it not being any other way. So I'm going to say it's going to be 1-0 to us, but I'm not. It's like what I said to you, what I said on the podcast, and I might have said it out of the podcast. Yeah. I always saw Marcus Rashford scoring at Old Trafford against us.
Yeah,
and I don't see it any other way with this. I see Wilfried Zaha scoring against us and celebrating in front of the Selhurst Park. But I hope that it's not, so I'm going to go 1-0 to Liverpool.
Mate, you're throwing me off because I thought Liverpool would clean up, but you make an interesting argument. I'm going to put a 1-1 draw down.
1-1.
Maybe Crystal Palace can get
last time we had an
you.
international break, we did come off and draw, didn't we? Against Manchester United.
Yeah.
We drew. So it's an interesting way to go, but yeah, I do think that it's going to be a very tough game for us to break down that Palace defence.
Yeah.
Next game we have Everton versus Norwich.
Like kind of not the most exciting game there, but Everton at home will get the win there, and that's going to be 2-0 Everton.
2-0. I'm going to say 0-0 because I don't see it being a very interesting game.
Nah.
Everton don't really strike me as the interesting type of football nowadays.
Yeah.
Next game again, probably a bit of a slugfest. Watford versus Burnley.
Yeah, Watford. Again, with Watford's poor form, Burnley are always best at home, but with Watford's poor form, that game could be a Burnley upset away, or that could be terrible and be nothing.
Yeah.
I'm going to put 0-0 down.
You're going to put 0-0? I'm going to put 2-0 to Burnley on that one. And then obviously moving on to Saturday night's game, the big main event, Manchester City versus Chelsea. That's
going to be a brilliant game, and I've got a really strong feeling Chelsea are going to get points off them. Because
I think so.
If Chelsea get points off him, Liverpool have won the league.
Tammy Abraham scoring in the and also Mason Mount has also got on the goal sheet. He's quite phenomenal. So I am going to say 2-1 to Chelsea.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Let's go. Up the boys.
Thing is that if that happens, that the league's done. least done. Liverpool have already got the
I'm
point
banking
gap.
on it. I'm banking on either a draw or a Chelsea win, because a Chelsea win would also put them in the title race.
Yeah.
But then also, you'd also have Man City if they won. You don't really want them winning to catch up to us. So
I reckon if Liverpool win the Premier League as well, I reckon Pep's gone.
I reckon Pep's going to us.
Stay tuned for more.
Stay tuned for Jurgen. Once Jurgen Klopp's contract's at the end, I reckon Pep Guardiola might come to us.
Nah, mate. I can't see it.
I can. It's strangely I can. Like,
I reckon there's only one thing which is going to happen at Liverpool. It's just
Steve Bruce.
Mate, it's going to be a Steve, but it's going to be Stevie G, isn't it? It's going
Oh
to be.
yeah, actually, you know what? You raise a good point there.
Jurgen Klopp's just literally paving the way for it. I reckon it's already done. I reckon it's already spoken about. I reckon Jurgen Klopp and probably Jared probably having little private meetings every week. He's giving them tips.
This is how you say boom.
I can see Steven Gerrard going in and it all going down.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, maybe.
Imagine if Jurgen Klopp gives him the team and he inherits it like a Pep Guardiola would inherit a world class team.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it goes down like
it goes down like David Moyes.
Very interesting. What's next though?
Sheffield United versus Manchester United.
Away from home as well. That sucks.
Yeah.
3-1 United.
I'm gonna go for 2-1. Wait, which United?
Oh, good point, actually, mate. Yeah.
I'm going to put you down 3-1 to Sheffield United.
I'm going to be 3-1 Manchester United, mate. I'm going to back the boys.
Yeah.
Rashford and Martial, I reckon.
I can see Martial getting on the score sheet.
Yeah.
And the final game on the Monday Night Football, a very interesting game. Probably going to be a very scrappy game.
Yeah.
I think we always describe Newcastle games
as
scrappy. I do think that it's at Villa Park. Aston Villa versus Newcastle.
I think that's a game I'm looking forward to watching, mate. At Villa Park as well. It's going to be even tougher. 2-1 Villa, I'm going to put down.
2-1. I'm going to go 1-1 because Newcastle are primed to get goals, especially from the defenders all of a sudden.
Yeah, randomly.
They get, the Kieran Clarks involved. DeAndre Yedlin's getting involved in the goal scoring.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to put down 1-1. I do see Wesley or Jack Grealish scoring for Villa.
It's very plausible, mate. Very plausible indeed.
So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the today's topic. Obviously, it's kind of a filler episode for us. Obviously, without being we're a Premier League based podcast, so to not have the Premier League on, it's kind of difficult for us to come up with concepts. But we thought transfer markets is a way to go. Obviously, as always, please go and follow us on our social media for updates and for our graphics for like the hype train and our predictions, the scores. It's quite even at the minute in our predictions.
Yeah.
So we just follow us on Twitter at Pundits Average and on Instagram at Average Pundits. You can also subscribe to us here on YouTube and also put on that notification bell to hear when we go live every Wednesday. We shall fill you in on the social medias, what times.
Yep.
It really depends on our schedules. Being students, it's quite busy.
But I mean, Wednesdays when we always look to get one out. But guys, like and share the video, please.
Yeah,
just get us the as much kind of publicity. We want to make sure we're getting it out there. We want to make sure we can spread the good news.
Spread the love. Spread the football love.
Yes.
But anyways, I hope you guys have a fantastic day wherever you're listening, or morning or night, whenever you're listening to this. And we shall speak to you next week.